Good morning. It is June 19th, about 7:21 a.m. We'll call that. This is Bev. This is the Bev D Show. And good morning. I am very excited about today because I got some rest. There's not enough said about some good old-fashioned sleep. I remember yesterday morning I was saying I just had this weird, strange feeling about me, and I felt better when I was on the show. That was the best I felt all day while talking with Todd on Tuesday. Thank you, Todd. You are amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I love having you on the show, Todd. If you're listening today, I appreciate it. But that was the best I felt all day. And then I went to work, and I was training some folks. And then during our lunch hour, we were talking about our kids, because each week, or each training week, I should say, we learn more about who's coming in for training and that sort of thing. And I brought up that I was talking about my daughters and that they graduated, and I'm just so proud of them, you guys. I really am. And pretty strong, 3 beautiful young women out there trying to make it in this world. And they made it so far. They've all got, graduated from college, which is what was our goal. And now they have good jobs, which was the second part of their career goal. The other thing they're amazing at is making good friends and being good family members. So there's not a whole lot else I could ask from them, because they take pretty darn good care of themselves. And we are not married. My ex-husband and I are both extremely proud, and along with the universe and God and family, we raised some pretty amazing people. So there you go. So I was talking about the college that 2 of my daughters went to, and this one person just went off. And he does not like, I did the thing where we were talking about Ohio State, and he's like, I said, hey, across the table, I said, that's the Ohio State, just to have some fun. Anyways, this other guy just went off. And I'm glad he went off on a day that I wasn't feeling up to par, because I don't know how I would have reacted on another day, but, he was just talking about the sports and everything, and guess what? He likes Michigan. Anyways, so that pretty much summed everything up for us. But it was weird how it affected me. And it didn't affect me, like, personally about Bev. It did. It's like, you know what? If I went to college there, fine. You're allowed to go off. But, you're talking about where my kids live, and, go to school and all that kind of good stuff. So anyway, I couldn't believe how that affected me. And part of the show yesterday, we were talking about a little bit how I like to, I'm the youngest of 7, and somewhere along the way I got addicted to people that when I did a good job, I wanted to hear accolades, or I want to make relationships right, or I'm working on Bev every day, and I thought about that need, that we want to be liked. And so sorry about clearing my throat. This weather has finally, I don't complain. You won't hear that from me. You won't hear me talk about my ailments, my illness in a negative way, because I always learn from them. But I will say that I think that as far as my voice, and I talk for a living, this weather, there's perhaps when I sleep at night that it affects my voice in the morning. So you are the recipients of that. So I'm sorry about clearing my throat. Okay, so anyway, that need to, so when that happened, I was really proud of myself, because, and I think I should be proud of myself, because he was just talking about the sports end of it, and I could clearly see he was just a feel sorry for himself Michigan fan, and so I just backed off, and I just kind of let him go off on his little tangent, and I did. That's really strange for me not to pipe up and say a couple of things. And I think I said something smart ass like, wow, tell me how you really feel, kind of thing, and I said, I know, okay, fine. I said this. I said, well, it's too bad, you feel that way, because Ohio State always loses. And he looked at me like I had six heads, and which I wanted him to. So just to kind of clearly let him know that, I know why he's, kind of being a crybaby about that. But it was all good and fun, and that's what it is. But there was something about it that rubbed me the wrong way when you start talking about the city and all that kind of stuff, and the roads and the traffic and everything. It's like, you know what? Lay off. That's all about my kids, who are grown-ups and probably could care less what somebody like that said. And that is what I learned to do. Anyways, so I wanted to tell you guys that. But anyhow, I came home last night. We had dinner, and then I just passed out on the couch for a couple of hours, got up, went right back to bed, and slept the night through. And so I feel back to my normal self. So we have to take good care of ourselves. We have to get our rest. If you're really feeling bad, just go take a big fat nap. That's my prescription and recommendation for the day, because it really changed everything the way I feel this morning. So not that, it's just I got some sleep and I'm feeling pretty damn good. Okay. Moving on, today I was thinking about things. It's so strange. I've said before I have like little notes about what I'd like to talk about each day, but I don't have a lot of time today. So I wanted to leave you guys with a few questions that I want you to give some thought to. Now, there are all different kinds of personalities out there, and I know that's what I'm dealing with, but here's a really poignant question that's a real game changer. When you are almost out of toothpaste, do you do everything that you possibly can to get every bit of toothpaste out of that tube? And then when you buy the new tube, do you just ridiculously use a lot of toothpaste on your toothbrush, like there's no end to that toothpaste? Same thing with hairspray. I will insist that there's a little bit more in the bottom of the bottle, so I'll put a little bit of water in there, and I just don't want to give up on that bottle. Want to make sure I use everything I possibly can before I throw that bottle away and open up my new one. And then when you open up the new one, it's just all over again, just like toothpaste. You're just using it freely, your hair looks better, all that kind of good stuff. And also, did you ever notice that the day that you are about to get a haircut that your hair looks good? Now, maybe that doesn't happen to you, but that happens to me every single time. And then I talk myself out of a haircut. And then the next day, my hair looks terrible, and I'm like, I should have got that haircut yesterday because I had the time. I am of a certain age, and this has been going on. I don't care. I'm 59. Fine. This has been going on all my life. And it's just really bizarre, and I keep allowing it to happen. But I didn't want to get my hair cut on the day that it looked good. I know. So anyways, I wanted you guys to think about that, and here's why. We give products all that attention, and we, as far as toothpaste, using everything we got there and everything in the hairspray. And, maybe there's cooking items, spices, things like that we do in the kitchen as well. I'm not a man, but if I was, I used canned shaving cream, trying to get every last bit out of that bottle. And it's kind of like what I was just saying, we push ourselves. And we push ourselves so hard, and we try and get every last bit out of us before we go, wait a minute, what's wrong here? I'm not sick. I don't feel really ill. I'm not having those kind of effects, but I just don't feel good. And borderline, if you really don't feel good, please go to the doctor. But sometimes, just like yesterday, we push ourselves, and we push, and if we have a career, we're doing that for 8 hours and performing for the people that we work with. And if we're not working, maybe we're retired and we're active retired people, and they push and they push and they push till there's nothing left. It's kind of like the end of that toothpaste or hairspray or shaving cream that I'm talking about. Sometimes it's time to just retire it and give it up, throw it away, and open up the new one, because we're spending more time. I have cut open, boys and girls, I have cut open a toothpaste tube before to make sure that I had everything out of the sides. Now, I don't know if that came from being from a very thrifty family, being the youngest of 9, and my mom showed me how to save a dime. I don't know. But I can assure you that all of a sudden it equated to life with me like that today. And I was just like, this is crazy. This really is what I have done to myself in the past by working so hard. Or, we work so hard and our brain, while we're doing one thing, we're thinking about other things, or we let our energy get sucked up in emotion. Whereas if the old Bev would have been in that conversation yesterday, I would have said something back, something more toe to toe. And I have learned let things work out in my silence. Let things work out. Todd and I, we were laughing yesterday. I came up with, I love being wrong. It takes all the pressure off. I'll just sit there. I don't mind. And because then it's hard work. It's hard work to prove yourself that you're right. And sometimes it's just better to just let it rest. But so you choose your battles. And doing that with myself, choosing the battle within to push until there's nothing left, sit down for God's sakes. Stretch, do some breathing. Give an exercise, touch it, try and touch the ceiling, touch your toes, that kind of stuff. That stuff makes me feel so much better, but I get so busy, I don't do it. And we really have to do that, and we have to take care of our capsule that is holding all of us together, our little vessel, our human vessel. We have to take good care of that. And part of that is sleep. And for me, I can't believe the difference just from sleep. I never liked to sleep before. I didn't. I hated naps. I didn't want to miss out what the world had to offer. And we, unfortunately, were built in to our DNA that we should sleep. Now, somehow Donald Trump's getting away with only sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night. God bless him. I don't know if he takes a nap during the day, but I used to be like that. And it's not age. It's just a different way of operating for me. I'm looking at things I'm stressing about more or worrying about more. I mentioned my daughters. I want everything to go right for them. Just think about your 20-minute drive to anywhere. And your mind can go all sorts of places if you don't work on clouding it with beautiful music so that you can escape. And so that's my question for you today. Those poignant things, really important things about life. You squeeze in that toothpaste tube too much. Is it time to throw that away and get the new one and not take so much time to make sure you've got every little bit right out of that tube? Just a question. Ran into that recently. And finally, that whole like me thing. Being the youngest of 7, I wanted to be sure that I was heard in my family, that I was as important as the magnificent brothers and sisters before me. It was hard. I was in all their shadows. And finally, when I was in high school, and these are some of the final years that I had with my dad, I didn't know he was going to die when I was 21. But I'm very grateful for the relationship that we ended up having, and that one of the most important people you want in this world to like you is your parents. And I pray for the ones that don't have that relationship, and that parents are a little rough on their or with their relationship with their kids. But as children, we're kind of like pets. We want our masters, our parents, to think that what we're doing is right and good. And I have a dog, Tanner, and all he wants to do is please us. He just wants to do the right thing, and he listens, and he's such a good boy. Like, he is so well-mannered. And it took time and work to groom him, and that's what parenting is as well. So if you're in a situation where, that's where our wanting to be liked, although, comes from. And I think about my dad, and I remember one time he had a wood lathe, and he went downstairs, he disappeared for a while. He would do this 3 or 4 nights. And then one day he came up with this plaque, and on this plaque was a number 1, and he handed it to me. And, being the youngest of 7, he's handing me this number 1. And it was the first time, that I had felt that